Hello, and you're welcome to this class. The last time that we treated literature, we talked about the introduction to literature, if you remember. Okay, today we are going to be talking about the branches of literature. I'm very much aware that there are different definitions of those different branches of literature according to what a teacher might wish to give to the students. So, by saying this, I mean to tell you that it is not a must that what I say here will be what you are going to use whenever you're asked about what each branch of literature talks about. Now, I choose to use simplified ones because, of course, I talk to students. I intend to pass this knowledge to students who are struggling to come to understand what literature actually is. So I use definitions that will be easily appreciated and understood by people like this. Okay, if you remember when we talked about literature, that literature refers to it is a mirror that views life. Or some other person will tell you that it is a branch of studies that reflects real life experiences. That is about literature. We talked about literature as having different fields, like literature having different branches. And when you talk about these different branches, you are talking about different perspectives from which literature views life. Of course, if you talk about literature as something that views life, this viewing of life comes in different perspectives. This is where you talk about the drama, you talk about the prose and the poetry. Now, we are going to look at the drama, for instance. Now, that period of time when somebody mentions drama, and somebody will begin to ask, what is this? If you talk about the drama as a branch of literature, the drama is that branch that is meant to be acted. Take note that literature has three branches. The drama, we have the prose, and you have the poetry. These three branches of literature do not come in the same structure. They do not come in the same shape. If you talk about the drama is that part of it that is meant to be acted. Some definition will tell you that the drama is a branch of literature which is best appreciated when it is presented on a stage. What this means is that whenever you talk about drama in literature, it is that branch of literature that is designed to be acted. It is meant to be presented. I always tell my students that you should forget the fact that some drama works are contained in books. And in schools, these drama works are taught according to what you have in the books. But take it from me, that work you see there is not meant to end in the book. Now, you see that in the book just the same way that a singer first writes his song down on a piece of paper and then goes to the studio for the beatings to be added to it, for the rhythm, and then it becomes a song. You do not present it to somebody the way it is written in that paper. That is the same way that that particular drama that you are seeing is written down because, of course, it has to be written. Now, when it is written, it is meant to be acted. That is why you see some directions there where it is said that this particular scene, it is arranged this way, there is a lantern here, there is a piece of whatever. That's by that description, that will tell you the way the scene, that particular environment is expected to be. Now, when you see that in a book, it is something that is meant to be acted. Now, this is why we say that the drama is a branch of literature which is meant to be acted on a stage, or it is meant to be acted in the presence of an audience. That is about the drama. When you talk about this second one, I am talking about the prose. The prose is meant to be read, but we are going to talk about this when we get there. And poetry, this here you are talking about poems. The poetry as a part of literature is meant to be sung. Okay, let us focus on this drama. This drama has types. You hear something about tragedy. I know of a time when a teacher will tell us that tragedy is a type of drama which begins sadly and ends sadly. Up till this moment, there are students who still have this definition in their heads. But I am telling you now that that definition is not wrong, yet I do not advise my students to use it. Now, if you talk about the tragedy, the first question you ask yourself, if you hear that word tragedy, what comes to your mind? If somebody that went out, maybe in your house, somebody just comes in and says that something tragic happened on the way, what is the first thing that will come to your mind? That will tell you what tragedy is. Now, tragedy as a type of drama treats serious issues. It arouses unpleasant emotions and it usually involves death. I would always define tragedy as that type of drama that treats serious issues, it arouses unpleasant emotions, and usually involves death. Now, that unpleasant emotions that you have there, it is to say that it normally arouses emotions that are not enjoyable. There are emotions that you enjoy having, am I right? Emotions like joy, emotions like love, happiness, hope, and the rest of them. But when you talk about emotions like sadness, pity, sympathy, fear, horror, and the rest of them. Those feelings are unpleasant. Now, tragedy arouses these unpleasant feelings. This is why we say that, this is why I define it as a type of drama which treats serious issues, arouses unpleasant emotions, and usually involves death. That is about the tragedy. The second one, you have what is known as the comedy. Okay, and of course, I do not expect somebody to still keep having it in mind that the tragedy is that the comedy is a type of drama that begins happily and ends happily. That is not wrong, actually, but you can't continue keeping that definition. There were definitions that were given to you during the time that you were in primary so that you would understand it. Now, at this point, if you talk about comedy, what do you mean? Remember, comedy, there are situations where you go to somebody and tell the person that you need to see some comedy works from their phone or from their homes or the rest of them. What were you having in mind when you asked about that? Comedy talks about laughter. Now, comedy as a type of drama is that type that is meant to induce laughter among the audience. It is meant to induce laughter or to cause happiness. Comedy, the major thing about comedy is that it induces laughter. It makes the audience happy. That is about the comedy. You then have what is known as the tragicomedy. This deals with the combination. If you talk about the tragicomedy, you are talking about the combination of the features of tragedy and comedy. Tragicomedy. You are combining the features of the tragedy and the comedy. What does this mean? By this, we mean that the particular drama you're talking about should treat serious issues. It should have those elements of tragedy that make tragedy what it is, meaning that it should treat serious issues. It should, at a point, there might be death. Yes, it might induce fear. It might bring about pity and the rest of them. But there is always a point in that work where the audience are made to laugh. And if you see a tragic work, a work that is supposed to be tragic, and at a point you come across a point where something comic happens, where the audience are made to laugh, that is where it's referred to in literature. There we refer to that place as comic relief. A particular place in a tragic work where the audience are meant to have their tension relieved a little. They drop that tension. They are made to laugh a little. We refer to that as comic relief. Okay. The next time that we are going to be talking about this, we are going to enter into the types of comedy. This comedy has types, and that is what we are going to be treating the next time. Remember, we define the drama as a branch of literature which is meant to be acted. Under this drama, we say that there are three. We have the tragedy, the comedy, and the tragicomedy. The comedy is that one that treats serious issues. It arouses unpleasant emotions and usually involves death. The comedy is that type of drama that is meant to induce laughter and bring happiness, while the tragicomedy is that type that combines the features of both the tragedy and the comedy. This is where we're going to be stopping for today. Remember, if you have not subscribed to our channel, you do well to do that. God bless you all. Thank you.